Ooh, okay.
Just talk to me.
Okay. I am Denise Aguirre. I am the co-owner of the Point Park along with my husband, Noel, and we've been here since 2012. Just kind of tired of the whole corporate rut. We worked for a really good company here in San Antonio. I was there 15 years. I worked my way up to as far as I felt I wanted to go. And he did too, and we just kind of, it's a very structured company, and we're probably more on the creative side, so it was just kind of hard to stay in the lines and keep doing it day after day. So we'd go to Austin almost every weekend. We'd go hang out, try different food truck festivals, stuff like that, and we couldn't find a place that had like food trucks, maybe some beer, live music, stuff like that. So we're just like, well, let's create something like that. Part of our inspiration was a local hangout that we would go to in Southtown, called the Friendly Spot, and it was just at this really cool outdoor vibe, and I wanted to bring kind of that vibe somewhere. I didn't know where, we didn't have an idea. So we would travel down Bernie Stage Road, which is the road we're on, pretty much daily. I kept seeing this old house. It was a house, like people lived here, and it was for sale. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of a cool space. Eventually we made an appointment to come see it. People lived here. We were sitting in a bedroom. Actually, this was a bedroom, kitchen was over there, everything. And I'm like, could this really be something? It looks completely different, even the outside. I mean, there was nothing here. It was a shell of a house. And we decided to take everything we have, like we liquidate everything, right? Pull money out of 401, which they say don't do, but I didn't listen. So we got a call from the realtor and saying, oh, property already sold, cash offer. I'm like, oh man, okay, well, it wasn't meant to be. So this is around Thanksgiving. And then soon after, we get a call from the guy who bought the property, and he was just like, hey, are you interested in leasing it? And I'm like, oh, well, maybe it is meant to be. So that kind of started the ball rolling. So it took really all of 2011 to cut through the red tape, because this concept was new to San Antonio. Like, there were no food parks. People, like when we would go to the city to try to get, permits or explain what we were doing, people were like, oh, you're opening a flea market? I'm like, no, it's a food court. Like, just completely over people's heads because nobody was doing it in town. I say we were the first food truck park, bar, play area, everything in San Antonio. And from the research we did, maybe even Texas, maybe even the United States. So unofficially, I'm going to say we were the first. So that's kind of our story. We were able to do it all through 2011, and then we opened March 2012 on St. Patrick's Day. When we started, we didn't know what to expect. We had picnic tables, and okay, we're open, now what? So the customers really kind of tell you what they want. You hear comments or you read the reviews and things like that. So then we slowly added, a few cosmetic changes. The biggest change though we did was incorporate this inside space into a coffee space. And this happened just 2 years ago. Originally my idea was I want to make it an art house, and I want to, do art shows, and because we really wanted to bring a little bit of the urban downtown vibe, which is what we were used to, and we wanted to bring it into a neighborhood. So, we bring a little bit of cool funk and quirkiness and into a neighborhood where there's nothing but chain restaurants all around. And that just kind of happened. That was just one of those very organic progressions. We have a really good customer now who's a really good friend of ours that was roasting his coffee, and he was just doing small batches at home, but then he'd come and sell his stuff here and meet up with people. And I'm like, why don't we just take this inside space and turn it into some kind of really cool coffee space? And it just kind of went from there. It was just an idea we had over a couple beers, People enjoy it a little bit more. We have a totally different kind of customer that comes in here versus a customer that we have outside. This is where neighbors meet up, that they don't even know their neighbors. They don't even know their kids go to school together. And we've seen so many friendships form here, long lasting friendships. And I think this is just, people are proud to say, oh yeah, that place is in my backyard, and they're very proud of it. They're very loyal, and I don't know what makes it a community. So I don't know what draws people here. I hope it's because they feel that the owners are here. We really have a passion for this place, and I think they see that and they embrace that. Oof. COVID, let me tell you, how has COVID affected the point? It's affected us, well, just from the fact that business, dropped 90% probably. Like in March, we had just celebrated our 8-year anniversary, March 16th, and a week and a half later, we're being told you have to shut down with absolutely no plan, like how we're going to get help and how we're going to pay the bills and things like that. So the community, again, they rallied together and they gave us one awesome send-off, because we were going into the unknown. Are we shutting our doors forever? We didn't know. It was a really dark time. We got to reopen briefly, and then that was short-lived. And at noon on a Friday, after we had already bought all of our inventory for the weekend, after we had already made plans and scheduled people, and the trucks are prepped for their food, we were told at 9 a.m. we had to shut down at noon. And this was, across the state. So we were prepared to close. We were done. We were done. We were going to do it on our own terms, and we had a good run. We had a successful 8-year anniversary, and but we got to reopen. So much of a roller coaster of emotions. And during this time, during the whole COVID, the shutdown and reopen and shut down again, we had a lot of personal family matters happening. I lost a brother in May. My daughter had a baby, so it's just, not only is your business in flux, it's all these personal things that are still happening. They're still happening in the world, and it's just like, we got through it. And some of the things that we did to keep everything going, this whole year has been a blessing in disguise. As hard as it's been, it really allowed us to kind of sit back and open our eyes and really look at the business, right? We were every day before COVID struck, just going through the motions. We come to work, we do the same thing. We have our to-do list and our project lists, and we can never get it done because we don't have time. But when you're forced to stop in motion, right? You can look around and oh, these are the things I need to get done. So we had a lot of time on our hands to do something as simple as painting the picnic tables, to kind of freshen and spruce things up. And we made some process changes in the bar that we implemented because we could only do to-go and delivery. We've carried on some of those processes now that have made us, a little bit extra money. So it really gave us a chance to stop and look at our business practices and eliminate some of the things that we were doing just because, for the sake of doing it, because we always did it that way. We're ultimately responsible at the end of the day, and in this day and age, it makes absolutely no sense that business owners, and not just me, all my counterparts, all in our industry, restaurateurs, bar owners, I have to manage adults. I left corporate America because I didn't want to manage adults anymore. Just following the guidelines, we're a small business, we're struggling, and we have so many people that are impacted if we shut down. If the point goes away, we have vendors out there that lose a really good place to sell their, to make a living, and our beer vendors and, the drivers, the delivery drivers. So there's so much more than, asking people, hey, just follow this guideline. Every day is just us tuning into what's happening now. And we're hopeful, but we're realistic that we could potentially get shut down. So we just take it day by day. It's Sunday, and we are going to just manage the day and hope everybody complies, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. And then, so that's kind of the mindset we've been in for the past few months, is just day by day. In real life, we are in a little neighborhood in San Antonio called Leon Springs. Online, it's www.parkatthepoint.com. Instagram at the Point Park, Facebook at the Point Park. The coffee house is just the Drip. The bar has its own little page called the Back Porch Bar. So yeah, come visit.